Biophilic design is the concept of bringing elements of nature into the design of spaces to allow people to interact in a way that we do innately in those areas. Over the past 25 years, particularly in the commercial environment, which is where probably I see most of what we do, particularly planting has become very much more integral to the whole design purpose, and also many other areas. So the use of materials to make furniture and wall coverings and such like are becoming much more natural. I think particularly demand's growing because people are much more conscious about elements such as well-being, mental health of their staff and of occupiers of the space. And I think it's just making spaces that people enjoy being in, really. You know, if you want to make a space enjoyable, it's one of many elements that can be used to make people feel more comfortable there. So there are many benefits to biophilic design, and these have been proven over the years by many university studies actually, how they reduce things like absenteeism in the workplace, they increase productivity levels, they lower stress levels, and I think there's multiple elements in there. Things like plants remove toxins from the atmosphere, they give off oxygen. So there's many reasons behind why particularly planting, and then in the wider scope of the whole biophilic design is very important to ensure that it's included in our spaces moving forward. It used to be seen as a bit of a nice to have or something that maybe could be cut if budgets were tight. But I think we're seeing now people are really thinking about these elements and how they can make these spaces work for the people that are in them and for those of us that work in them. And I think we're only going to see that increase at the moment. You know, well-being is a very big, growing area of concern, particularly after the previous pandemic a few years ago. I think probably it's about thinking about it early in the design process. And again, that's probably one of the biggest shifts I've seen over 25 years, is people actually thinking earlier in the process about how these elements can impact the overall concept that they're creating. And by thinking about that earlier in the process, it makes sure that they're embedded in the design, they're not substituted out for alternatives, and probably particularly with things like planting, we're thinking about the elements that they need to make them not only live, but to thrive in those spaces.